Is this what you want to be? Is this what you want to be like? Because if that's the case, then you provide no value to society, nor do you provide any value to anyone in it. You are just leeching off the hard work of others. We are a lazy people. Almost everyone is looking for the latest scheme to get quick success. Whether it's the newest get rich quick scheme, one simple trick to an amazing body, or 3 things to tell someone that will make them madly fall in love with you. We are addicted to the results of success, but we are rarely willing to put the effort in to achieve it. Now, you'd think that we'd be willing to push ourselves, especially with the access to information that we have today. Unfortunately, that is not the case. We have more technological advances now accessible to us than at any point in human history. We can read the collective knowledge of humanity from a tablet, a smartphone, even a wristwatch, and do it from almost anywhere in the world. With a few clicks on our remote control or our computer, we can access a massive array of entertainment from TV shows to movies, video games, and more. Hungry? Those same few button clicks, and we can have a world of food delivered to our door, often within minutes. And for everything else, we have Amazon Prime, at least here in the United States. Almost their entire catalog available to us within a day or two. While this technology has definitely made our life easier, it has also made us weaker and lazier. Much, much lazier. You don't believe me? You don't think as a society we've become lazier? Let's look at a few examples. The job market. Let's start there. I'll admit, today's job market is brutal. And even if you have a job, there's no guarantee that you are being treated well. In fact, you may be exploited by your boss or your company for their own gain. It's no wonder so many people are burnt out and not really interested in putting much effort beyond the basics into their existing job. That being said, what are they putting their effort into? Well, you have some that go onto social media and complain about how bad their bosses are, about how bad their companies are. You have others that attempt to hack their resume. They put in words and phrases with the attempt to slip it past the ATS and hopefully get an interview with a real person. And you have others that beg someone, anyone on LinkedIn, to give them a referral to a company that has a real job opening available. All that being said, what if those people took that time and that energy and instead focused it on themselves and invested in themselves? They learned skills that would allow them to get a better job, or something that's probably more advantageous, they would attempt to start their own business. Anyone who realistically thinks that hacking their resume is going to lead to some type of long-term success, unfortunately, I think they're delusional. As for complaining and begging, I don't see that that's going to do anything else for them. All it's going to lead is to more sadness and more depression. Next, let's talk about the Ozempic craze. For those that aren't familiar, it's a drug that is used to treat type 2 diabetes. However, it has one significant side effect, and that is weight loss. Once that became public knowledge, Everyone, including their mother, rushed to the doctor to get it prescribed off label, as that wasn't really what it was intended for. Hollywood celebrities did a great job of further pushing it, as they had their celebrities touting these amazing body transformations they completed with it. Traditionally, weight loss, or just maintaining your weight, requires a combination of several things, including mindfulness, self control, and careful planning. Unfortunately, that has become more difficult in today's society, particularly as tasty treats are being pushed to us at every opportunity. Ozempic and its derivatives have taken away really the need for mindfulness, self control, planning, or anything else. Really, you don't even need to think. The drug does the work of determining when you need to stop eating by taking away the hunger pains that you might have. If you're someone who has tried traditional means of losing weight, such as diet and exercise, and you haven't been successful, then I can certainly understand why you would be interested in this drug. For everyone else, however, it kind of feels like they're cheating. They are outsourcing the work needed to lose the weight. However, they are gaining most, if not all, of the benefits. However, there is one catch to this. The drug has a very short effect time. Someone who stops taking the drug will find themselves within days or even weeks starting to deal with the same problems they had prior to taking it. So, someone is able to outsource their work to this drug, but only if they're willing to keep taking the drug for the rest of their lives or for at least as long as they want to lose weight. For most people, does that sound like the type of thing that you want to do? You want to spend the rest of your life addicted to a drug because you aren't willing, or you claim that you're not able to learn the skills necessary to lose the weight on your own? I don't know about you, but to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense. Unfortunately, there are more and more people to which it does make sense. It's a very sad situation. Changing gears again, let's talk about the illegal immigration situation here in the United States. We have millions of individuals that have come into the country without legal authorization that are demanding to stay here and to get government benefits. While it's not popular opinion, there is in fact a way for these people to gain permanent legal status or to become a naturalized U.S. citizen. However, it's not an easy process. There are stories of people who have taken 10 years to get their legal status. You have advocates that are pushing to make the process much easier and much less time consuming. Now, do we really want to make the process of becoming a U.S. citizen that easy? Do we really want to make it as simple as, hey, you fill out a couple of forms and bam, now you're a U.S. citizen? I don't think so. We need the process to be challenging. We need the process to be difficult. These petitioners should have to put in time, should have to put in effort. They should need to put, figuratively or potentially literally, some skin in the game. These are the type of people that are going to be successful in our country. These are the type of people that are going to contribute and that we would want to welcome with open arms. Unfortunately, this entitlement has become a very common thing all across the world, particularly when it comes to immigrants. They think that because they exist, that they are entitled to the same rights, benefits, and privileges that everyone else has, often with doing no work whatsoever. Again, I don't think so. If these people are not willing to put the necessary time and effort into the process to become legal citizens, then they need to go back to their own country. They need to go to the back of the line, and they need to make room for those who are willing to follow the process to become a citizen. Let's change direction for a moment and talk about this channel and YouTube in general. When I started it, I didn't expect that it was going to be easy. I didn't know anything about creating videos. I didn't know anything about content creation. Over the 6 months that I have been working on this channel, the one thing that I have been constantly taught over and over is that I still have so much to learn. One of the sources that I frequent is r.youtubers. It's a subreddit that focuses on smaller channels and those just starting out their YouTube adventures. Unfortunately, every third video or so, there's somebody posting something about why my video didn't get enough views, why my view length wasn't long enough, why my click-through rate was so low. Often, the answer is very simple. The video, it sucked. It was terrible. The thumbnail was bad. The content was bad. The description was bad. Or maybe all of it was bad. And yeah, that's kind of harsh to hear as a content creator. But more often than not, that is absolutely the case. The original poster, however, often chooses to lash out at someone or anything other than taking responsibility for the fact that their content just isn't good. Mr. Beast, who is one of the largest content creators on YouTube, said that new content creators should make 100 videos when they're starting out, focusing on making each one a little bit better than the last one. He also mentioned that during those first 100 videos, you can expect that most of them are going to be garbage. They're just going to be crap. Nobody's going to care what you have to say. Nobody's going to listen to you. And nobody's really going to interact with them. And that hurts. That really hurts, especially as somebody who's in that stage and someone who is trying to build a community here. But it's the truth. Now, there is that rare chance that through a combination of skill and luck, something kicks off and you go off to YouTube celebrity fame. But we all know that that's very, very unlikely. And for a lot of people, when they don't get that immediate hit and suddenly they are a celebrity, they get frustrated and they quit. They quit because they aren't willing to put the work in. They want that immediate success, which is this popular monetized YouTube channel, but they don't realize that it takes years of learning. It takes years of putting that learning into practice, and then it takes a little bit of luck for you to eventually have that successful YouTube channel. And finally, I'd be amiss if I didn't talk about women, specifically Western women. When it comes to dating, we all know that they rarely are willing to put the work in to build a successful relationship with a good man. They want a man who has drive. They want a man who has motivation. They want a man who has money, a man who has status, a man who has good looks. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. However, they almost never consider what is necessary for a man to achieve those things. A young man who is just starting out on his career, he has absolutely nothing of value to women or to anyone else. He has to put in 12, 14, sometimes 16-hour days, 6 or 7 days a week, just to make something of himself. He has to go to the gym 4, 5 days a week, lifting heavy weights, pushing himself to failure in order to get those muscles in order to get those visible abs that everybody loves. And when he finally gets that success, he finally reaches the finish line, then all these women come out of the woodwork like cockroaches and expect that he is going to offer them a relationship. My question to those women is, what have you been doing in that time period? What have you been doing in terms of hard work, in terms of sacrifice, in terms of suffering? And no, I'm not talking about going and getting a useless degree in gender studies. I'm not talking about finding yourself, as we all know what that means. I'm not talking about racking up crazy amounts of credit card debt. I'm talking about what have you done not only to make yourself a desirable individual, but what have you done to help that man to achieve his success? Were you at home making his meals for him? Were you doing the laundry? Were you taking care of other household responsibilities? Were you providing him emotional support so he could go out there and be the success that he currently is? The answer is no. You weren't. You did nothing. And in many cases, they do worse than nothing. They berate these men. They shame these men. They embarrass these men because these men are not up to their unrealistic standards of what they think someone worthy is. And then once he finally crosses that finish line, they expect that he is just going to jump at the opportunity to wife them up. It's absolute craziness. It's no wonder why men are just walking away from women, particularly Western women, altogether. And no, you don't need a degree in gender studies to figure out why that is the case. Whether it's the disgruntled employee, the Hollywood celebrity, the illegal immigrant, the wannabe YouTube star, or the entitled Western woman, they all share one common trait, and that's the desire to have the success without putting in the effort or the work to achieve it. Is this what you want to be? Is this what you want to be like? Because if that's the case, then you provide no value to society, nor do you provide any value to anyone in it. You are just leeching off the hard work of others. Is that what you want your life to be representative of? Is that what you want your one life that you have to be remembered for? That you were just there? That you just existed? That you had no drive, no motivation, no goals, no anything at all? I was that person. I was that person that just existed. And the pain that I experienced every day from just existing was far, far worse than anything I've ever experienced pain-wise in pushing towards a goal. And once you reach a goal that you've fought for, that you've suffered for, that you have sacrificed for, you will get a mental high that is like nothing you have ever experienced anywhere else. And anyone else who has reached the same plateau will tell you the same thing. I want you to think about something the next time you are considering skipping the hard work. The next time you are considering taking the easy path, taking the simple path to success. The path that looks like it's the simplest one is rarely the one that will end up being the easier path in the long term. Remember that.